Let's welcome back to the Yaakov M Show our very good friend, renowned Charedi journalist Yanky Farber, who is in Eretz Israel. Yanky, it is a privilege to have you here. I wish it could be happier times, but it's good to see you.
Yes, good morning for us, good night for you. It's very, very difficult times. As you said, I wish we would speak on different occasions, on different stories, maybe about politics, about the Israeli government, but a lot of things changed since Simchas Torah.
Absolutely, yes. And I'd like to hear, I think a lot of people want to understand, again, like you said, very late night for me, early morning for you. I'm in America, and a lot of us in America, we certainly feel more than a solidarity. I don't like the word solidarity. It doesn't really capture. There's an achdus. We feel like a different part of our guf, a different part of our body is suffering right now because we're all together. We're all connected as a family. But tell us what the mood is like in your surroundings in Eretz Yisrael. Are people still shocked and traumatized? It's really just been a few days. I think back to, the feeling after 9/11, and it took so many weeks and so many months. And I don't know if we ever fully recovered. So what can you tell us about all of that?
Well, the people here, the people in Israel were very, very divided before Simchas Torah. In the last 10 months, or maybe people who were demonstrating against the government, people didn't speak to each other, people were actually fighting, sometimes physically, because of different opinions. And on Yom Kippur in Tel Aviv, we remember that they didn't let people daven because there was a mechitze, and it wasn't really mechitze, it was just an Israeli flag, whatever, between the men and the women. And then they didn't let people make Simchas Torah davening on the streets in Tel Aviv. Well, I felt very bad, because to look how in a Jewish state, a Jewish city, they don't let people daven. But I knew it just because they have a politics issue, but it was very hard, in the last 10 months. And I wrote many times, and many people said that the problem the Jewish people have is that they only stick together when somebody wants to kill them. Somebody wants to kill us, we get together and we fight. And we didn't really know what we're saying, but it really happened. And Simchas Torah, Hamas, we will talk about it after the war, exactly what happened, how did they manage to get to Israel and everything. But they actually entered Israel, and you know what? If I really, it's a miracle, but seriously, they just entered Israel, and they could actually go all over Israel, everywhere. Bnei Brak, Yerushalayim, Bet Shemesh, Elat, Petach Tikva, Netanya, Haifa. Nobody stopped them. Nobody was there to stop them. So 2,500 of them, just walked in to Israel. I'm not talking about the civilians from Gaza. They all of them are a bunch of terrorists, but officially Hamas people, 2,500 of them, they could easily get to Bnei Brak. Nobody would stop them. They didn't know that it's going to be so easy. They thought somebody's going to fight. There was no one there because they killed every soldier at the area, and then they just walked into people's houses and killed them alive, or some of them, or captured them. So, and people woke up on Simchas Torah morning, afternoon, and they realized that if we're going to fight between ourselves, Israel is going to be destroyed. So we all got together and said, let's stop fighting. Let's start fighting our real enemy. And after the war, we'll see how we sort out the Israeli issue. So,
and as you say, number one, the unthinkable happened, and there are no good answers. Like you said, after, I guess, this stage of things is said and done, there'll be committees and there'll be investigations, but it's beyond belief. Everything, of course, is beyond Hashem. But from a Derech HaTeva standpoint, nobody's given any kind of explanation. Like you said, hours and hours. They didn't know themselves. If the Hamas leaders had known, Baruch Hashem, they didn't know, in the sense that if they had known, then they would have tried to do things that were even worse. Khalil Rahman al-Islam. And as you say, it's sad that it takes this level of magnitude of tragedy to bring about such actos, but it is incredible, the actos that we're seeing, the Kiddush Hashem. It's just, we've almost never seen anything like it. And yeah, continue.
Yeah, well, on Motzei Simchas Torah, when you actually celebrated Simchas Torah in America, and people, something, as I said, people still don't know what exactly happened, because every day more and more bodies have been discovered. Now, the officially numbers of 1,400, but we all know it's over 2,000, because many bodies have not been discovered yet. Nobody knows who they are, and so it's going to take time till we're going to know exactly. Now, some of the bodies, we don't even know if they are terrorist bodies or Jewish bodies, because they need to be identified, and there is hundreds of them. Now, in the city of Ramle, not Ramallah, okay, in the city of Ramle, there is a special place where all bodies are being checked. All bodies are being brought from the south to Ramle. There is a place called Shua. There's a place called it's a special place where all bodies are coming, and the chief rabbi of the Israeli army is basically there 24 hours with hundreds of Haredi Orthodox. Most of the soldiers are Orthodox. Maybe some of them are Haredi, some are whatever, and they go through body after body. Now, DNA from the families to try to make sure that they the right bodies, and slowly, every day they discover. And we think there is over 2,000 bodies, but we don't say it, because we wait for the officially announced of the government. But it's crazy. Now,
wow, I was not aware of that.
What Hamas did was,
yes.
Yeah, because the Israeli authorities are not announcing more than that till they confirm every single body.
Right.
Hamas did. I'm not going to describe exactly, because I don't want people to have nightmares. But Hamas did things worse than the Nazis. We know exactly what the Nazis did. Hamas did worse than the Nazis. Maybe worse even than ISIS. They did, and not just they did it, they recorded it live on their body cameras, and all these Hamas guys died. So we found their cameras, and we realized exactly what they did. Also, they took the phone of victims and they forced them to open it live, and they did live with the people's phone to show their friends how they suffer, and then eventually they kill them. One of the things they did, they took a 15-year-old boy, took him to every house, to all the neighbors, and they told them, knock on the door and tell them it's you, so they're going to open the door. If you do it, they're going to kill you. So they were hiding in the house. He knocked on the door. He said, "Hi, my name is this and this, and sorry, please open the door for me." They opened the door, and Hamas killed every single one of them. At the end, they also killed that boy. Crazy. This is something that we have never, ever seen before. And there was much worse views, much worse videos that I saw, and I prefer not to describe it, but basically they piled up kids, one on top of each other, tied them, burned them alive. And that's just the easy part of what they did.
It's horrific. It's unthinkable. And it really is just, there are no words. There literally are no words. But it is important. It is important for us to share it, at least with people who are interested, and for the non-Jewish world, the secular world, because right now, public opinion is very much supportive of Israel, but we know how quickly that can change. And I do want to ask you, number one, what is the Israeli sentiment about President Biden and about American support right now? President Biden has been very supportive of Israel for the last 10 days. Obviously, he was in Eretz Yisrael on Wednesday. He gave a speech. He gave a speech in Tel Aviv. I was curious what you thought of that and what you think in general, the Haredi world, and in general, what the Israeli community feels about support from America and the media, even some members of the media that have been very anti-Israel. We know about the story with the hospital and the bombing of the hospital, and a lot of the media bought into the propaganda, and Hamas plays these games. Hamas does all these things. They kill their own people. They kill innocent women and children, blame it on Israel, and the media falls for it. So do you think that right now public opinion and President Biden are supportive? Do you think that's something that will last? Well, what do you
know? Well, so basically, yeah, well, people are surprised about Biden because, the Israeli media and also the American, conservative media always gave a feeling that Biden is against Israel and the Democratic Party is against Israel. And all of a sudden, they just saw Biden did what Biden said, and Blinken and the whole the whole American government. People were surprised, but everybody knew Biden likes Israel, but people are concerned about what's Biden going to do because Netanyahu he didn't get on with them very well. But people go around in Israel and say, I wish Biden would be the Israeli prime minister. People say he's the real Israeli prime minister, and when Blinken came here, everybody talks good about Biden. People bless him. People go around in Israel and people make songs over social media and dance for Biden. I've seen many videos of people thanking America and dancing on TikTok. You can see so many people thanking America. I first of all, we all know Biden likes Israel and everything, but this is something we've never seen before. He came to Israel so quickly. It took him more than maybe a year to get to Ukraine. It took so many people more than a year to start understanding that Putin and Russia are dangerous to the world and support Ukraine. Israel took them 2 days. The British Prime Minister is coming today. The German Chancellor was here yesterday, and actually, New York Governor is in Israel. I think she's still in Israel. And I don't know, many of them were going to come, and the Czech where Prime Minister, I think, was here. Many leaders came, but America is something really crazy, and people go around and blessing America and Biden and everything. I'm not even talking about the American soldiers who came not far from the Israeli, from Israel, one of those big ships around, and many missiles and many planes that America is surrounding Israel with. Now, if we're talking about the Haredi community, well, I want to say that in 2006, in the Lebanon Second War, in 2006,
Yeah.
the Haredi community were not connected to the war so much because it was something like, the Haredi community all over Israel didn't feel anything that the war has to do with them. It was like something far, in the north with Hezbollah, nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do with the Haredi community. And then if we remember in 2014, 3 Orthodox boys were kidnapped in the West Bank, and they were killed, murdered, and then Israel discovered all the tunnels with Hamas and had a had a war with Gaza. And also, even then, the Haredi community didn't feel connected to Israel, to the war, because again, it was something that hasn't got to do with the Haredi community, and the West Bank is a place where there's no Charedim, so they didn't even feel connected.
Right.
And then the Corona came in 2019, 2020. Corona came, and the Haredi community realized that there is a problem here, and they need to be more connected to the media. So many Haredim actually, got internet at the first time in their life. Well, clean internet, special internet that the rabbis allow, whatever, but it was the first time Haredi people really got to the news. So, and then they realized they they cannot trust the local media. They cannot trust their own newspapers. They need to get the media. They need to get the news from the real place. And then came Simchas Torah. On Simchas Torah, many Orthodox people were killed. Some of them were paramedics. Some of them were first responders. Some of them were Haredi soldiers. And this is the first time when the war actually came into the Haredi community. And many Haredi saw Hamas terrorists going around in their neighborhood, killing people on the streets. So people realized the war came actually into them. Now, because the Haredi community, the majority, I mean, most of them, probably 90% or 95%, are not connected to the Israeli, or not connected, or not really Israelis. And obviously they don't serve in the Israeli army. They felt that something is going on here, and they need to make a change. Now, the Israeli government did not vote until now that yeshiva bocharim could stay in yeshiva and not join the army. And the way it looks like, nobody is going to vote for such a thing. I don't see, and everybody says it. Every Knesset member that is not Haredi said, I'm sorry, we cannot vote to make a law that Haredim should not go to the Israeli army because it's impossible. More than 2,000 people probably died, and we're going to have a big war with Gaza and Hezbollah. So we're not going to.
So you think this is going to possibly eliminate that possibility, that proposal that was being pushed so strongly by
yes,
right wing?
And more than that, I don't know if you know, but I think the coming Sunday or maybe Monday, thousands of Charedim are going to join the Israeli army. But proper Haredi, not like me, but people real Haredim, real Litvish people that were in yeshiva now. Yes, not young boys, all of them over age 26, married, of course, with children. They're going to join officially the Israeli army. They're going to be truck drivers. They're going to be paramedics. The Israeli army needs many now. Because so many Haredim are in Zaka, Ichud Hatzoleh, and Mada, and all those first responders organizations, so they're all going to join the Israeli army, and especially truck drivers. And they're going to join, they're going to make a quick, just get a gun and, teach them how to shoot a day or two, not too long, and make a little training, just, basically, and join them and send them all over where they need to be.
Wow. Is that public news? I mean, is this something that's...
Yes. But again, of course, Yated Ne'eman, and Amoidia, and Amevasser, they're not going to publish it. But on the Haredi internet, there is a lot of them. And the plan is, I don't know how many thousands, but at least 2,000 or 3,000. This is what they're talking about. Maybe they're only going to accept only 1,000, but they said that thousands have been registered. But the Israeli army is only going to take whatever they need. They're not going to take everyone. Now, the plan is that after the war, they are going to be part of the reserve force. So whenever they need, they're going to call them. This is something that never happened before.
Unbelievable. Okay? Sure.
And of course, on December, in about a month, maybe a little bit more, at the end of November, whatever, Netzach Yehuda, the Haredi battalion, are making a big. A lot of people are going to join the army because all these young boys are not in yeshiva. They feel that they need to join the army because it's not just going to the Israeli army; it's actually protecting your house, and this is real protect. People in America don't have a problem. Nobody's going to knock into the house and try to kill them unless there is a Nazi, like America had, in Pittsburgh and in other places. But you're not afraid that somebody's going to come from your border. I mean, I know the Mexican border and everything, but all those people, They're not murderers. They're not
anything
coming to
like it.
America.
To target Yidden 25 miles away, there's no feeling like it. No, you're right.
Exactly. You're not afraid somebody's going to knock on your door and just start butchering your family. Here, people understand, especially people who live in the south, especially people who live in Be'er Sheva, in Sderot, Netivot, Ofakim, all those cities, they're actually 1 hour drive from my house. I live in Bnei Brak. This is 1 hour drive from my house. So they understand that if there isn't going to be enough soldiers to protect the Israeli border, the terrorists will just come to your house.
Right. You have
now,
absolutely. Yeah, continue.
So now, in the last 10 days, I've seen all over social media thousands, maybe I don't know numbers of Charedim helping the Israeli army with cooking food for the soldiers, collecting clothes, soldiers who went to the army on Simchas Torah with nothing, no clothes, no shampoo, no toothpaste, nothing. And all those Haredi boys are going around Israel, collecting a lot of things for these soldiers and going around to the bases, giving them food, dancing for them, making them music, making concerts and giving them chizuk for what they're doing. And this is something we've never seen before. Haredi women, proper Haredi women from Bnei Brak, from Yerushalayim, from Beit Shemesh, cooked food for soldiers, and non-Haredi people from Tel Aviv came to pick it up and drove down to the south to give it to soldiers.
Unbelievable.
I've seen videos of it. This is something that never happened before in Israel. And you know what? The Haredi society understands that the Haredi people need to be more involved. Now, the only question is, how do we do it with no touching the yeshiva bochurim? Because they all agree, even the non-Haredi people who want Haredim to come to the Israeli army, they say, you know what? If you will sit and learn in yeshiva, we're not going to touch you. But there is about 150,000 people registered as yeshiva bochurim. Now, the problem is that many of them are not really yeshiva bochurim. So what we say is, and many Knesset members from the Haredi parties, I think it was Goldknopf, and I think it was Malkieli, and I think it was some other guy said, and Arbel said, well, if somebody is not really in yeshiva, he should go to the Israeli army. There's no reason. So there will be a change. I don't know how it's going to happen, but the Haredi Askonim are very worried because they don't know what's going to happen. Now, since Gershon Edelstein was nifter, the Litvische community don't really have one rabbi, one yeshiva, who leads the Haredi community. We can see Sheila Lirsch, we can see Reb Dov Lando, we can see Reb Meir Tzvi Bergman, we can see some other rabbis, but that taking lead and everything, but there isn't like one rabbi. Like, we knew Arav Shach, and then we knew Arav Eliashiv, and then we knew Arav Steinman, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and then we knew Gershon Edelstein. Now there's about 3 or 4 different rabbis, and and people are confused. Where we see it? Actually, the election. There's supposed to be an election now in Israel. For the councils from mayor of Bnei Brak, Yerushalayim, whatever. So they pushed it for in 3 months' time. So and you know what? No one rabbi of those great rabbis, Moshe Hillel and whatever, Reb Dov Lando, none of them said who to vote for. I mean, they did, but every one of them says different. So people say, okay, so I should listen to this rabbi, I should listen to that rabbi. So when there is a vacuum, when people don't know what to do, things happen itself. And I don't know how the Haredi community are going to cope with the issue of serving the Israeli army after the war, but definitely it will be completely different than what the Haredi people knew till now, because one reason, because the terrorists came into the Haredi community's house. So now everybody knows it's not a joke. It's not something like far away from us in the Lebanon border.
Right.
It's in our house.
In the backyard. Okay, we were going to leave it at that. I got to tell you, Yanky, you've brought out, all the repercussions, all the different dimensions I was not aware of. I think a lot of people, and I follow the news pretty closely, but the ripple effect that this is having throughout not just Israeli society, but
And
the
no,
Haredi.
I will tell you why, because you didn't see it, but if you really want, I will send you after the interview.
Yeah.
I have pictures and videos. I don't think you want to see them from the burned bodies,
Yeah.
from the worst things that they could do. And I'm not going to describe it because I don't want people to have nightmares. And every Haredi family in Israel, don't ask me how, because I don't know, they know exactly what the terrorists did. And he woke up people. So that's why people said they must do differently what they did till now. And
Wow.
if anybody knows about it, even didn't see it, just heard about it, he will shock him, and you'll get him out from his position and see how we can help Israel, fight Hamas.
Right. Okay. It's really, look, it's a frightening time. It's a time of tragedy, but as you're bringing out, hopefully it's a time of hope and achdus and incredible new unity. And, you have an incredible insight, an incredible glimpse, an incredible brirut, a havana. You really, really understand what's happening, I think, with a very, very incredible worldview and perspective, more than most people. And I really appreciate you sharing it with us. And if there's any way that we can help, I wish you just a lot of
No,
help.
I've seen so many Americans helping Israel with money, with basically donating a lot of money. I don't know. The way I think over what do you mean? Billions of shekels have been donated by American Jewish people
Yeah.
from all over. From every Jewish people, from all different backgrounds, different communities. Obviously, the Jewish people in America are helping us like crazy, and it's really warming up to see it. I wish they would donate for different reasons, but what could you
Right.
do? And it's really amazing to see it. Thank you so much for all of you. Let's hope we speak, in better times.
Amen. Thank you so much. Renowned Charedi journalist and a very special Yiddish neshama, Yanky Farber, on the Vin News podcast. Okay.